Good day. This is Brother Medina for Tuesday, Seventh-day Adventist. And please let us start with a word of prayer. Gracious, loving Father, please be with us as we enter into this presentation. Bless everyone to understand and to have a clear view of what is being said here. All for your glory's sake we pray, through Christ our Savior. Amen. And today we want to talk about correcting fake news. Correcting fake news. Yes, my dear people. And there are things that have been happening in the world that are expressed by news. But much of the news from the mainstream media are fake news. Yes, my dear people. We know that we are facing a crisis of the coronavirus in the world. In all, we want to thank our government, and this is not political, this is gratitude for how they have helped us. We want to thank them for helping us, for helping this country, for keeping this country safe from massive infections and death. Yes, my dear people. All you have to do is to see what is going on southwest of us, and you would see that countries like Mexico, like Brazil, like Argentina, like Chile, and other Latin American countries are packed with new infections by the thousands, and thousands of people keep dying from the coronavirus. Yes, my dear people, it is so deadly. Some of us have lost sense of how dangerous this thing is and have become lax. Albeit, the government of this country has helped us handle it so much, so good, so well, or else today thousands of people in different areas would be infected and much, much more would be dying every day. But we were able to keep our statistics down in everything. And we want to thank the government very much for what they have done to help us. They have saved lives. And for this, we are deeply filled with gratitude. You should be also. Because all now so things should not have been opening up. It should be closing up more. But instead, because of their wise and proficient handling of the crisis, we have been made a safe country, and that's the reason why a lot of people want to come back here to Trinidad, because Trinidad has been made safe by the government's handling of the coronavirus crisis. But what we want to take issue of is some statements by the Minister of Health or the Ministry of Health. We believe that you should do accurate research. We of Tuesday Seventh-day Adventist, our health ministry of the church, have done research and found very important information. We had shown you all that the virus is an airway cells virus and affects the nostrils, the mouth, the throat, the lungs. It's an airway cells virus. It has been engineered to infect the airway cells in laboratories. We have read documents showing you this already. We show you how the virus spread. The most proficient way it spreads is through breathing out. Once a person is infected, when you breathe out through your nostrils or through your mouth, minute droplets of liquid comes from your nostrils and your mouth and floats in the air, sometimes floating up to 30 feet, sometimes being taken by air condition and carried to other rooms, and in these droplets the virus is. And we show you that's how it was able to spread so far, so fast, so wide. Because it is a virus that when you are having conversations with people, it's coming out in your saliva that is flying in the air. not the big droplets only, but the minute droplets that are so fine that it can float and last floating in the air for a long time, for 3 hours, etc. We showed you that. Although the World Health Organization denied those kind of information in collusion with China, scientists in different parts of the world began to show you this. But we showed you it first. We also showed you from documents that nanosilver or colloidal silver kills the virus within 5 minutes. Within 5 minutes, it totally destroys the coronavirus, robbing it of its electrons. We showed you all of that. And we were not doctors or scientists, but we did adequate research and God directed us in getting information. So likewise, we hear the Health Ministry making a statement that the coronavirus that is now exploding in Beijing and other suburbs and spreading, we hear them saying that the Chinese published a document showing this is a European strain of the virus, giving people the impression that the coronavirus in Beijing came somehow from Europe. That's a lie. That's a lie. And we must not be so naive to trumpet misinformation, fake news given by the Chinese Communist Party, who lied about the virus and caused it to spread all over the world. It's the same coronavirus, no European strain. This virus don't have strains. This is an engineered virus. And it was released accidentally from a laboratory in Wuhan, where the Chinese Communist Party tried to cover up the whole facts about it and were in collusion with the World Health Organization in doing this. So the facts are, there is no European strain of the virus. That's nonsense. The virus was engineered, and if the virus mutates, since mutation breaks down the properties of things and not adds to the virus what sophisticated cells that are not there in it, it can't create it out of thin air and just add it to the virus. So mutations always make the virus become less potent and less dangerous. So there is no European strain of the virus. You could only fool people who do not know how the things operate. That is fake news, yet trumpeted by the Ministry of Health in Trinidad and Tobago. Likewise, we have heard attacks on anti-vaxxers from the Minister of Health. And the information given there is fake news. Information that links it to just Dr. Wakefield. That is fake news. And we will prove it to you. Also, we also heard hydroxychloroquine. And this hydroxychloroquine is a drug that is supposed to deal with malaria and was used successfully in dealing with the coronavirus because it blocks the receptor cells in your body from being open to the infection of the coronavirus. We heard the Ministry of Health also tell us that studies prove that this drug kills more than help, that it kills. All that was said is fake news. And we want to show you where this fake news about hydroxychloroquine killing people, where it came from. Now, in the Lancet magazine, this magazine is one of the top medical journals in the world, the Lancet. Also, there's another one called the New England Journal of Medicine. These are top medical journals in the world. In the Lancet, they published an article that said hydroxychloroquine is not good and it kills, even though you use it with zinc as they're supposed to use it in the treatment with regards to the coronavirus. We knew that this article was lies and that the Lancet magazine allowed themselves to be used by propagandists and foolish people. And this information that the hydroxychloroquine isn't good was trumpeted by the Ministry of Health here. We've heard it over and over, where they had those meetings on the updates on plans to deal with the infections that were going on. But we want to show you that the article was false. They usually give you the impression that they have the news, they have the understanding, they have the science, and they are following the science, when really and truly, many times, it is fake news, especially those that deals with vaccination. And here is the Lancet magazine now publishing a retraction of the article they had in their magazine attacking hydrochloroquine. I am reading the retraction first for you before I read and explain to you what had happened. In the Lancet here is the retraction, I quote. The Lancet says this: "We always aspire to perform our research in accordance with the highest ethical and professional guidelines. We can never forget the responsibility we have as researchers to scrupulously ensure that we rely on data sources that adhere to our high standards. Based on this development, we can no longer vouch for the veracity of the primary data sources. Due to this unfortunate development, the authors request that the paper be retracted." Did you hear that? The authors request that the paper be retracted. We all entered this collaboration to contribute in good faith and at a time of great need during the COVID-19 pandemic. We deeply apologize to you, the editors, and the journal readership for any embarrassment or inconvenience that this may have caused. End of quote. So they had to apologize for the article that the Ministry of Health trumpeted here, which was fake news. We knew it was because we did proper research into how hydroxychloroquine works with zinc to deal with the coronavirus. And here we were given different information as if they were following science. Now the Lancet had to retract the article. This is why we tell you, when Tuesday, Seventh-day Adventists give you information, you better listen and take it with all your heart, because we are telling you the truth based on proper research. Yes, my dear people. But let us just find out a little more about this fake news that was published in the Lancet and the New England Journal of Medicine. In this document by Mike Adams, written on June the 4th, 2020, we are told the Lancet, New England Journal of Medicine, turned into laughing stocks as widely touted hydroxychloroquine study found to be based on fabricated data organized by science fiction writer and adult content model. Did you hear that? A porn star model and a science fiction writer was behind the article that people trusted in as science. Yes, my dear people. Now they had to apologize. The Lancet. The Lancet, New England Journal of Medicine, turned into laughing stocks. Yes, my dear people. Let me read for you. I quote, "In the latest stunning demonstration of brazen quackery and junk science, both the Lancet and the New England Journal of Medicine have published a widely touted science paper trashing hydroxychloroquine that turns out to be based on data acquired from a company run in part by a science fiction author and an adult content model. None of the individuals from the company appear to have any background whatsoever in legitimate science or epidemiology. The data from this company, known as Surgisphere, appear to have been wholly fabricated. Yet it was the dominant source of data for the study published in those science journals, neither of which had retracted the flawed study. The study published in The Lancet on May 22nd, 2020, its authors include Professor Mandeep R. Mehra, MD, Sapan S. Desai, MD, Professor Frank Roshchitska, MD, and Amit N. Patel, MD. Sapan Desai is the founder of Surgisphere, the company that claims to have provided data for the study. Did you see that, my dear people? Listen to this. Now, the Guardian newspaper did research and found shocking things. The Lancet study, which listed Desai as one of the co-authors, claimed to have analyzed Surgisphere's data collected from nearly 96,000 patients with COVID-19 admitted to 617 hospitals from their database of 1,200 hospitals around the world who receive hydroxychloroquine alone or in combination with antibiotics. The negative findings made global news and prompted the World Health Organization to halt the hydroxychloroquine arm of its global trials. But only days later, Guardian Australia revealed glaring errors in the Australian data included in the study. End of quote. Yes, my dear people. So did you see that? So even the World Health Organization, which was supposed to be an expert organization, was fooled by the article and stopped their research into hydroxychloroquine. This clearly shows you that many times what they tell you is science is fake news. But we knew they were wrong all the time, and we told you so. So I continue. All the usual fake news media outlets parroted the false findings of the study, including the BBC, the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, NBC News, etc. None of them cared about the absolute fraud behind the study. Only the Guardian, it seems, has managed to conduct a serious investigation that exposes the total fraud. The fraud is so obvious and so horrifying to reveal scientists that the scandal has earned the name Lancet Gate. Both the Lancet and the New England Journal of Medicine have been reluctant to pull the study because, of course, discrediting hydroxychloroquine plus zinc is a necessary step to clear the way for hundreds of billions of dollars in profits for the vaccine companies that fund the medical journals. Yes, my dear people, the fabricated study published in the journal was used to cancel clinical trials on hydroxychloroquine, which was the goal from the very start. As the Guardian reports, quote, data it claims to have legitimately obtained from more than 1,000 hospitals worldwide form the basis of scientific articles that have led to change in COVID-19 treatment policies in Latin American countries. It was also behind a decision by the World Health Organization and research institutes around the world to halt trials of the controversial drug hydroxychloroquine. Yes, my dear people. So you see that? They caused thousands to perish by a fake news study, which was touted here in Trinidad. Yes, my dear people. We say this because we want you to know that we of Tuzia, Seventh-day Adventists, presented you the facts about all the matter. We continue. The Guardian has conducted an astonishingly good investigation into Surgisphere Company, the Surgisphere Company, and has found truly shocking details that expose the raw fraud of the data behind the study. These details include the facts like this one. An employee listed as a science editor appears to be a science fiction author and fantasy artist. Another employee listed as a marketing executive is an adult model and event hostess. The Guardian also reports that the hospitals in Australia whose cooperation would have been required required to gather all the data claimed by Surgisphere have never heard of Surgisphere. Here is the article in The Guardian. The Guardian has since contacted 5 hospitals in Melbourne and 2 in Sydney whose cooperation would have been essential for the Australian patient numbers in the database to be reached. All denied any role in such a database and said they had never heard of Surgisphere. Yes, my dear people. So the whole thing was a fake. And yet it was touted here in health releases from the Ministry of Health. I quote, "Mind-blowing findings from the Guardian's investigation that reveals Surgisphere to be a total fraud, yet widely touted as a credible data source by papers published in the Lancet and the New England Journal of Medicine in order to fraudulently claim that hydroxychloroquine is extremely dangerous. Yet they never told you that the British Prime Minister, who had the coronavirus also, was cured using hydroxychloroquine. They never did tell you that. Now, the article of The Guardian, among some of the findings, here is what we are told. I quote, "A search of publicity available materials suggests several of Surgisphere employees have little or no data or scientific background. An employee listed as a science editor appears to be a science fiction author and fantasy artist. Another employee listed as a marketing executive is an adult model and events hostess. The company's LinkedIn page has fewer than 100 followers and last week listed just 6 employees. This was changed to 3 employees as of Wednesday." So you see, they are fraud. While Surgisphere claims to run one of the largest and fastest hospital databases in the world, it has almost no online presence. Its Twitter handle has fewer than 170 followers, with no posts between October 2017 and March 2020. Did you see that? Until Monday, the Get in Touch link on Surgisphere homepage redirected to a WordPress template for a cryptocurrency website, raising questions about how hospitals could easily contact the company to join its database. Desai, one of the men in Surgisphere, has been named in 3 medical malpractice suits unrelated to the Surgisphere database. In an interview with the scientist, Desai previously described the allegation as unfounded. In 2008, Desai launched a crowdfunding campaign on the website Indiegogo promoting a wearable next-generation human augmentation device that can help you achieve what you never thought was possible. The device never came to fruition. Desai's Wikipedia page has been deleted following questions about Surgisphere and its history first raised in 2010. In researching the article, we also found that Surgisphere claims of winning various industry awards appear to have been fabricated as well. The company appears to be little more than a money-making front that fabricates data to be used by the fraudulent pharmaceutical industry to destroy the credibility of patients' drugs in order to shift media narrative towards high-profit outpatient drugs and vaccines, of course. Yes, my dear people. And so it is this false organization that was depended on. Yes, my dear people. Now, they tell us they're against people who they call anti-vax. But here I have in my hand here a report of the compensation for vaccine damaged patients in the United States. This report I have in my hand here breaks down into how much lawyers were paid, how much cases were heard, how much cases passed, how much money was paid from these cases as litigation was brought, not to the drug corporations, but before the courts in a special arrangement where people who get vaccine damage receive compensation for the damage. I have the document here in my hand. This HRSA document, which shows us the payment. I am going to read to you the payment from 2019 to 2020 that have been paid for vaccine damage. I am going to read the payment. Now, if vaccines are so safe, and if anti-vaxxer conspiracy people and they have absolutely no truth in what they're saying, as we were told by the Ministry of Health, why is it that the American government had to pay so much money for vaccine damaged patients? Are you telling me that is a fraud? Are you telling me that that is unsubstantiated anti-vax propaganda? As we are told, here is the figures. I quote, from 2019 to 2020, they had to pay $4,385,672,580.43. Yes, my dear people, almost $5 billion for vaccine damage to patients. Yes, my dear people, this document clearly shows us that vaccines do damage to people. And you must have choice. They cannot force you and should not force you to take any coronavirus vaccine to cause you to get damage. Anti-vax is not from Wakefield, as the Minister of Health always says. Anti-vax preaching and teachings goes before Dr. Wakefield. And there are much, much more credible evidence there than this so-called common news or mainstream media tell you. If you have to pay over $4 billion, that should show you how they are wrong. And now we say these things to you for you to be aware, because Jesus is going to judge them all. They're going to be judged by the law of God and to be found wanting. So we told you this as a public service because we want you to understand. And we want you to make your decisions with wisdom. Don't just rush to any propaganda. Don't just rush in a naive way to any statement made by any health organization. And so, may you take these facts and may you follow these truths. So, anyone who wants this program, call us at 625-0446. 625-0446 will give you this program plus others that went before. And may God bless you until we meet again. In Jesus' holy name, amen.